spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ spreads confusion and
Hey everybody, it's Thursday, January 26th. This is Zombie Popcorn's This Non-Religious Life. Next to me, as always, is Jason.
Hello.
And all the way across the country is Ken.
Hey everybody!
And
You know what? This
again, we have another technical difficulty, and Ken doesn't have video again.
and Bob is putting pop into popcorn on this episode.
Oh my gosh, sorry. Although I will say for everybody that's listening right now, Ken is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. He's fresh-faced this morning. It's too bad you can't see it on the video.
He's wearing lingerie.
He doesn't know what to say with that.
He's just
Thanks.
thanks, guys.
I had a religious experience here this morning. My coffee pot fell down off of the counter and smashed with all of my coffee inside it.
Oh, that
Oh
sounds
my
fun.
god, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you can do? You can go to zombiepopcorn.com and get yourself a This Non-Religious Life coffee mug to replace that one.
Well, a coffee mug isn't going to do anything with my coffee pot.
It was the whole coffee pot that fell.
But you
whole
can put.
pot
But
coffee.
if you had coffee in your This Non-Religious Life coffee mug, then you wouldn't be as sad as you are right now because you would have had just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I should get a non-religious life coffee mug because now I'm drinking coffee out of this cheese ball 7-Eleven cup.
Man. And if you don't like
Yeah,
This
I'll probably
Non-Religious
do
Life,
that.
we have zombie popcorn coffee mugs too.
That's true.
Anyway, enough of that self-promotion. Let's get on with this show.
Okay.
Right.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about last week when we had Matt Brake on as a guest, and he was a super nice guy, but at the end of the day, I don't think I'm buying what he's selling.
No, of course not. And I mean, he and I have talked a little bit since then. You know, he friended me on Facebook, and super nice dude. And I'm really looking forward to having him on the show again. I'm glad he enjoyed himself. I certainly enjoyed having him on here. A lot of interesting things he had to say, and I really like having that sort of dialogue, but
Yeah, but you know,
not buying it.
there was a time, and like I said, I like him. He's a nice guy. He's a super nice guy, and really at the end of the day, I want to be more interested in building bridges than pissing people off.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I think that's what, we're all tough and everything when it's just us three. Like, well, we had them on the show. But I like the fact that when we actually had somebody on the show, it was a level playing field, and it wasn't people pointing fingers. There was legitimate questions, and
Yeah.
Yeah, but he definitely represents this aspect that we could call sophisticated theology, and I felt like I felt like I don't know, I felt like his approach to I don't know what's going on. I felt like his approach to some of the ways he thinks about things. Because he, obviously he's done the academic work, and obviously he's a bright guy, but then he was, talking about the popular interpretations of religion and versus the academic interpretations of religion, and sure there's differences, but at the end of the day, doesn't that come off as sort of almost like a Gnostic attitude, like he's got the secret knowledge that all of these other people really don't?
I wouldn't call it Gnostic. I mean, he definitely has a better understanding. And I don't think it's necessarily...
Was his understanding better, or is it just more sophisticated? And I mean, I don't know.
It's both, I would
I'm
say.
still kind of kicking this idea around.
I mean, he definitely hit on something that I think is true in the fact that the general laity really don't have a very solid grasp of their own religious claims. They know Jesus, they know who he was, they know God. They don't have a very good grip on anything beyond that. And that's been shown again and again with lots and lots of polls. I mean, but last year when the Pew Research Foundation came out with that test of 30 questions, and they gave people, an atheist scored best. One thing I was very quick to point out, is, the average atheist still got a D.
Yeah. But it was better than the average religious person.
Yeah.
Although
evangelicals usually did the best in their own religion, but still they were D and C students on average too.
Yeah. So I another thing that Matt did a lot of, and I was reading about this later, and it sort of comes up again. Whenever we sort of leveled a criticism at a theistic belief, like, for instance, we were maintaining that religious experience itself is a biological phenomenon. He would say, like, oh, well, that's not or he would defend his position with saying, oh, well, have you read this book, and have you read that book, and have you read this book? And I hadn't, and so I didn't really have a valid refutation for his theistic stance. All I had was a scientific explanation for a phenomenon. And so it turns out that when Dawkins wrote The God Delusion, there was a guy who bashed it in the New York Times review of books. And one of the reasons that it got bashed was because they said that, sure, Dawkins was an evolutionary biologist, but he hadn't read all of the great works of the theistic writers and thinkers. And so they said, like, oh, well, he's not qualified to talk about these things because he hasn't read all of these works by, so and so. And Matt, rattled off a good, at least a half a dozen different books. And go ahead.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cute. Bye. So anyway, in response to this criticism, P.Z. Myers on Pharyngula wrote this reply about this criticism leveled against Dawkins, and his reply is called the Courtier's reply, and he wrote it in a way that was sort of a satirical take on the whole situation. And what he did was he imagined that really all Dawkins' book does is say that the emperor has no clothes, and he was sort of playing the part of the critic, saying that, oh, well, this person has no basis, they have no ground for their criticism to say that the emperor has no clothes because they haven't read the fine works on the numerous writings by Joe Kerfuffle about royal fabrics, and they don't know all about the fabric making industry, and the whole, it was sort of a tongue-in-cheek satire, but the whole thing is, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have read those books. You just have to be a rational thinking person to make those criticisms.
Mm-hmm.
And just because somebody is familiar with those works, it doesn't mean that the science behind demonstrating that religion is a biological phenomena is not valid. It's almost a non sequitur.
Yeah, I guess. Sometimes
I mean, that's defending my own inadequacies.
It's not just apologists that harp on Dawkins for stuff like that, because I've heard Dr. Price do the same thing, and even I felt that way sometimes. Like, he's brilliant, and he makes a lot of good points, especially about religion. Sometimes he does do a little venturing out beyond his own expertise, though.
Right. But the point being is that you don't have to be a fashion expert to say the emperor has no clothes and be right.
Sure.
And that's all I feel like we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean that's kind of the point. And it doesn't matter
Certainly.
that, you know, we somebody else made the analogy of, like, you know, the secularist wants to point out that the emperor has no clothes, and the theist wants to discuss the color of his socks.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I sort of, in reading that, I was like, oh my God, I was living that, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
not to be too critical of Matt, because like I said, he's a rational guy, and I'd rather build bridges. But I don't know. This is not the first time that this has happened, and it won't be the last.
Yeah.
I'm trying to kick it around in my head how to deal with it.
What happens is you had a discussion with an apologist, and one who, because he has a slightly more esoteric understanding of theology than, you know, say a literalist who maintains, you know, sola scriptura, you know, and only the literal sense.
Yeah.
He's a bit harder to pin down, you know. He's, you know, very slippery, because if you try to grab onto, you know, the usual holds, he's going to say, well, I don't, you know, I'm not a biblical literalist. I don't believe that the earth is 6,000 years old. I don't believe that God created it in literal 7 days. I don't believe Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And it's like, it becomes a little trickier.
Yeah.
But how does it become trickier? I mean,
because those are the standbys for, you know,
but
when
if
science...
their only basis of this belief is the Bible, and when you say that you don't believe in Adam and Eve, the way the earth was created, and all that, where's your legs to stand on if you don't believe what is fundamentally the book written by?
For the first 1,500 years of Christianity, the Old Testament was really nothing more than metaphysical backstory. The Catholic Church itself doesn't accept Genesis as a literal interpretation. For Christians who don't buy Genesis, it's not about the Old Testament, it's about the New Testament. You know, they can, you know, wax intellectual about Adam and Eve all day long, but for them, what really matters in the end is who was Jesus. And, you know, for them, everything that the New Testament says he did is proof positive that their claims are correct.
And I guess that goes back to what he was saying, because he's more in line with the inspiration, not, I guess, the text.
Not the infallibility.
Yeah.
You know, I did a little. I went back, and like I said, I've been kicking this around in my head for a couple of days, and I went back and I did some reading about some of the things we talked about, and he's absolutely right. Biblical inerrancy and that literalism, that is a movement that sort of came about in the 70s, and like you said, they're sort of doubling down on their belief as a reaction to secularism. But I thought about that a little more. And 1,000 years ago, or, you know, at the start of Christianity, what wasn't biblical inerrancy just the way? Like nobody started talking about it until we started having advances that refuted what was in the Bible.
No, biblical inerrancy actually didn't really come around until the 16th century. The Catholic Church set itself up. I mean, the Bible was important, but papal bulls and, you know, the teachings of saints and traditions, apostolic traditions, were all equally as important as the Bible. It was a multi-pronged sort of offensive on reason.
Yeah, but still, even if nobody like wrote the words biblical inerrancy down on a piece of paper, nobody thought to talk about it in those terms because it was just the way. It was just you just accepted what was there. Nobody questioned it.
Well, they certainly thought it was truth.
Right. What I'm saying is the very nature of questioning what's in the Bible that brings about the terms and the issues of inerrancy and infallibility.
Yeah.
If it was if this was 1,000 years ago, we would just be going, yeah, that's exactly what it says, so that's what it means.
No. I mean, it's the 16th century is when it became. It literally became. It was called sola scriptura sensus literalis in Latin. It means only scripture and only in the literal sense. Even in the 1500s, people understood that you could read a text and read it any way you like. Anyone who's taken English courses in college knows that you can analyze anything in any number of ways. And that's what was happening very quickly with the church. There wasn't really a problem with interpretation before because the church had the stranglehold on literacy. The common people didn't read Latin, and even if they could, they didn't have the books to read. So the only people who controlled interpretation was the church itself. Once books became a commodity that could be printed and bought, then Martin Luther had to really double down on people reading it and getting all sorts of crazy ideas. And that was the birth of literalism and biblical inerrancy.
Yeah, but I mean, until I guess I don't know. I'm just thinking of this in terms of if you're not questioning it, then there wouldn't be reason to have terms like inerrant and infallible because it would just be the way. I always sort of my understanding was a good way to get burned at the stake was to raise your hand and go, man, you know what? Maybe what's written here isn't really true. Whether you're literate or not. When the local bishop says, the Bible says this, and you were to say, well, I don't know, I see it differently. Wasn't that a good way to get killed?
It was, and I mean that wasn't biblical inerrancy though. That was papal inerrancy. It's the doctrine of papal authority, where the church itself is infallible.
Well, isn't that the same thing though? I mean,
no,
it's not about what you think the Bible believes. It's whether you believe what you're told it says. And I don't know. That's even a level below. I mean.
That was one of Martin Luther's problems with the church, is that there were a number of things that the Catholics did, like selling indulgences, that aren't in the Bible. And the Catholic Church still does a lot of things, confession and the saints and the Immaculate Conception. The miraculous conception is in the Bible, but the Immaculate Conception isn't. The Immaculate Conception of Mary.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
so.
I was sort of admitting that he was right about this recent movement.
It experienced a resurgence in the 70s where it became very, very pronounced, especially in American Protestant circles.
Yeah.
Who already embraced a sort of literal sense of biblical scripture, but then it became, they just sort of doubled down on it.
Yeah, I like I said, I've been kicking around, just kicking around ideas in my head about how to confront and deal with this very sophisticated theology, and I actually had a short. I had a short little discourse with Kara about it, and she's pretty informed, and she sent me a link where somebody had written about this, and I don't know who it was. It might even be P.Z. Myers, but they said that they use this handy metric when dealing with sophisticated theology. And it says, if you've actually heard it or read it, it's not sophisticated theology. Sophisticated theology cannot be explained because in doing so, it will become open to refutation. Thus, sophisticated theology like the rainbow's end or a mirage is forever beyond your reach. Rest assured, though, that sophisticated theology is indeed what every believer really believes, no matter how much they may indicate that they appear to have a slow preschooler's understanding of the world.
I saw that. I saw someone else post that, actually.
And I do like the way it
yesterday.
said, it was like sophisticated theology trademark.
Yeah.
But since then, Matt has a Twitter presence too, and he said that what did he say? He posted a tweet that said, "Faith is a response to the unseen, not an explanation for the unknown," and that's very pithy but I think it was I think maybe it was Shermer or Dennett that said that the unseen and the unseen and the non-existent look a lot alike.
Yeah.
But I still think there's a place in the world for, people like Matt, and there's nothing wrong with his faith. There's nothing wrong with his belief, or his education, of such matters. It's the people. I mean, I've said this 100 times in the show. My biggest struggle is not with atheism. It's not with Christianity. My struggle is trying to find out why either is important, because yet I have found no reason to find it. Why atheism is important, why Christianity is important, or any other religion or any other belief of that is important. And so I guess the question I have is, going back, like people like Matt and like-minded, I don't have a problem with them existing in the world, whatever their belief may be. It's the people who use their faith and belief to oppress others. That's the only problem I have with any type of religion. And I would have that with an atheist that is trying to do the same, or whatever.
Yeah, I like to think that when it comes to things like human rights issues and secular issues, women's rights and gay rights, I really like to think that at the end of the day, all of us, Matt included, we'd all be on the same side of the fence. We
would hopefully be.
Hopefully, and I would hate to think that, and I don't think that he is, but I would hate to think that Matt would be the type of person that would, vote down a bill for gay marriage because that's, I don't know, there's some biblical foundation for that belief or that sort of prejudice. And I don't think he has those prejudices. I'm just saying, it's those aspects that I find most repugnant about religion.
Yeah, I mean, as nice as Matt is, he seems like a very, very nice, kind person. He's one side to a coin.
Agreed. Yeah.
And unfortunately, he's probably the edge of the coin, not a full side. Religion, especially in the laity, is it's an I'm right, you're wrong sort of deal. And every religion is like that,
But that can be said, and then just to play in the devil's
room for doubt.
Yeah. To play the devil's advocate, that can be said about atheists too.
No, I don't think it is. I mean, I think people can be arrogant when they think they're right, and a lot of atheists do, but it's not a fundamental tenet of non-belief.
Yeah, that's like where people say like, "Oh, atheism's just another religion." That drives me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fundamental to non-belief to say, I'm right, because every day I admit I'm ignorant of a number of things. I accept science, though I'm woefully ignorant of the the mathematics behind it. And I admit that, I could be wrong. There's tons of stuff I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no room for that in religion.
Well, no, the exact statement you just made, I've heard many religious people say that. It's like, I don't know how the world works. I don't know the finer details. But I believe that there is a creator behind it that's created this force, and I won't understand this until Judgment Day or whenever I walk into the kingdom.
Yeah, but I think that's belief in a. I think that's belief in a God to explain the unknown, and I really Matt's philosophy or his world look is much more sophisticated than that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I wasn't trying to apply that statement to Matt, but yeah.
Yeah, he's for the past week he's got me thinking, man.
Yeah.
I've been thinking, staying up late reading, and
that's what we're here for.
And he, and at the end of the day, I'm unconvinced, and I'm not trying to shoot him down. I'm trying to reconcile things in my own head.
And yeah, I think that's the point that is definitely we should all of, not just the people on the show, but everybody who has the belief or who doesn't have the belief. That I think that conversation is highly needed amongst the ranks of both sides of the coin, or both sides of the issue. Because once we challenge our own thoughts and have a deeper understanding of the foundation of our own thoughts, it's gonna make the conversation and the world just a little bit better.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Don't take my word for anything. Go out, read a book, find out for yourself.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm just here to make smart remarks along the way.
I am too. That's all I'm here with.
Yeah. But so anyway, yeah, and I definitely do want to have Matt back because I want to get in because we had another comment. Did you see we had a comment on an earlier episode that I have to go back and listen to, and I believe it's the episode where we were sort of pinging on Craig.
Yeah, I saw it.
And somebody, I think they had a Christian viewpoint because they were saying that like Craig demolishes atheists with his arguments, and I don't see that at all. But then they were calling us stupid because we said that he was a moderate.
And I still maintain he's more of a moderate than what I'm used to when dealing with the far right. He's not a Pat Robertson, and he's not a Fred Phelps. So
well, oh yeah, exactly. But we sort of picked up on that because he made the statement about it was okay for God to command the slaughter of the Canaanites, which is what we were talking about. That label of moderate, it's not one that I apply. That's the one that the media applied to him.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying is he's not a Fred Phelps or a Pat Robertson. He's not the crazy fire-eyed fanatic. Right. At least not the way he portrays himself. So he's viewed more as a moderate than as anything else.
Yeah.
I think he's effing nuts. But
do you have the comment?
Yeah, I can look it up real fast.
Pull up and because didn't he say something that it was just a thin veil that we applied to? I don't remember exactly his comment.
Yeah, we couldn't highlight every aspect of his personality in an hour and still talk about the subject.
This person said that this is from Hyper Entity 111.
Thanks for commenting.
Yeah,
we do appreciate it.
And they said that Craig exposed, and this is episode 4 too. Geez, that was
a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago. I forgot what dumb comment might I have made. And he said that Craig exposes the stupidity and irrationality of atheists in his debates, making him a poster boy for rationalism. Really?
I wouldn't call it rationalism.
All right. Not the best poster boy, since there are religious philosophers who are much better than he is. Still, he's very valuable in the public sphere. Your reference that he must be a moderate because he gives arguments for theism is a grotesque piece of reasoning. He's a right-wing conservative and the very opposite of the liberal moderate. Anyone who has read his work will know this. All right.
Well,
like,
that
is
just
it like
seems like
liberal moderate? Is that like is that an oxymoron? Or
it
is
seems
that...
like he just put two scales, and then I mean,
Yeah.
he like divided the scales. It's like, well, he's not a moderate on the left. He's a moderate on the right, so that makes him an extremist. That doesn't make him a moderate, and I think that's just looking at two different scales.
Yeah. A moderate
But what?
is someone in the middle.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I thought. And there's degrees of middle too, right? Is it like, are we thinking of a
Sure.
broad middle, a narrow middle? Is he
Yeah,
is
of
he
course.
exactly at 50 on a scale of 1 to 100?
But I mean, I guess I could see his. I mean, I guess it's the way you view the situation. I mean, it's like if you look at it in the political scale of things, if you're, let's just talk about Republican and Democrat. If you're a Democrat, then there's going to be people who are on the far left, far right, and middle of what it is to be a Democrat. The same way on on the Republican side, and I think and I think what we were saying in the show, we didn't divide the scale. It was this scale that encompassed everything, and yes, he would be in the middle of that.
But I don't know this hyperentity 111. I don't understand why they call atheist arguments irrational. I always thought that most arguments are founded in rationality. What have I said that's irrational?
On the show or off the show?
Yeah, I know. Anyway, yeah, all right, cool. I don't know. I don't see Craig as far right or far left. I sort of see him as falling in the middle, a broad middle. But definitely Matt would be the guy to, I don't know, man, put things on a third grade level for me and explain, like, what is Craig talking about? Because, like I said earlier, sometimes I get lost in his philosophical rhetoric.
That's the point.
And yeah, I was I was reading another quote by Dennett where he called that philosophical theism a mug's game full of willful obscurities and vague deepities.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah,
It's
willful obscurities.
that it is a lot of that because when you frame things in big words and you do a lot of double speak, people they tend to buy it more. You come off with authority.
Yeah.
It's been proven that someone in a lab coat has more authority to tell someone what to do in an experimental situation than someone not.
Yep.
That's
So
why
if
they use
you're
them in
up
commercials.
if you're up behind the podium and you're using a lot of big words, shit, you must know what you're talking about God.
You must be brilliant.
Exactly.
As opposed to two dudes sitting on a couch.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Who would listen
Well,
to that?
no. I think we take our cues from a person that I grew up watching on the television, and he sat there smoking cigars, sitting in a chair, and said, "Look, I'm not going to talk about the issues until we reach X amount of dollars, and then when you do,
right.
we'll talk. We'll do the
Okay,
sermon."
so that
And that's
yeah,
Mr. Gene
well,
Scott.
nice segue, Jason. Good job. You're getting better at this.
Yes.
So did you watch the cloud video, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so
Let's explain the cloud video for people who haven't seen it.
we got sent a video on YouTube, and it was the face of Jesus in the cloud, and the whole I don't know if it was like a really good Photoshop job or just pareidolia, but whatever. There could be a face in the cloud. You could maybe
It's
see that.
pareidolia. It took me I had to strain my eyes. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like,
I saw it right away.
I see it.
So
Yeah.
if you follow that a little deeper, like not only is that poster on YouTube, they've got like a
That's a
dozen
video,
other. They've got a dozen other videos where they just pointed a camera at the sky and filmed clouds and then found something. So yeah, I agree. It is pareidolia, but that followed there was a text that followed.
They got the Archangel Raphael.
Yeah, there was a text that followed the video. It was like, oh, this is a sign of the end times and blah blah blah. So then you go to the link and it was sent out by Pastor Melissa Scott. And
Well, we don't know if the video was sent out by her. This person just happened to link to Pastor Melissa Scott.
okay.
I don't know if there's any connection or. If
I don't know
it's-
what the connection
yeah.
is, but that person, they're writing the post in first person, and then they have a link like check out my website. I mean, I think that's what it says.
No. Well, go ahead. I'll pull it up and then.
But so I was like, who's this Pastor Melissa Scott? And she is the wife of late Eugene Scott, Dr. Gene Scott.
Wait, the wife?
Yes.
I thought it was his daughter this whole
No,
time.
it's his wife.
Wow.
And what it gets back.
Score.
So you should tell people because I never knew who Gene Scott was until now. He was off my radar completely.
Really, Gene Scott. Seriously, he's an older bearded man, gray hair, and he would sit there and smoke cigars on television. He was like back when UHF and the upper channels were popular, and he would sit there late at night smoking a cigar, telling stories about his life and his wife, and he was like, I'm not going to give you the sermon until we meet X amount of dollars on, calling in and making donations. So he'd sit there and seriously just talk about nonsense, half stories while smoking his cigar until they reached like $10,000. When they reached $10,000, he goes, today's sermon is, and he would do the sermon. And he would not move from his chair, and he would have it was smoker yellow. I just remember it was just like a typical smoker's room, it was just awesome. And then later in life, I mean, he's generated a ton of money.
Oh yeah, he had a lot of money.
Yes, and now Pastor Melissa Scott, which I thought it was his daughter. She's pretty good looking, really young. She loves to sing. She sings all the time on there. Oh, and the thing that they do is he would break down the Bible in his sermons. He would like take a passage and say, okay, this word comes from this, this language, and this is what it means, and they would break it down, and that's all he would do. Well, now his wife is doing that, but she does it more dramatic. She actually has PowerPoint presentations, videos, and she runs back and forth, and she sings in between it.
It's the 21st century.
Yeah.
You got to do shit like that.
So
I love Gene Scott. I used to watch it just because it was so hilarious that people would call, so he would talk.
yeah, he built an empire. I mean, he made a lot of money by taking donations, and
There's a photo of him.
yeah. So he's dead now. And Melissa Scott is his surviving wife, and so before he died, he signed over the keys to the kingdom to her. And so now she's picking up where he left off. And from what I read, he was a very brilliant scholar of language, and so he was supposed to be a really bright guy, but now he's, I don't know, he focused on religion, and I was looking at that website, and I was like, man, Pastor Melissa Scott is smoking. I mean, she is hot. Want to know something? Turns out, porn star.
No way.
Yep.
It gets
funny.
better.
Former
Oh
porn
my
star. She
God.
went by the name Barbie Bridges.
What?
Yeah.
No shit.
She's a former porn star named Barbie Bridges. They married.
Wow.
They married when she was 32 and he was 70. 6 months later, he's diagnosed with prostate cancer. He refuses conventional treatment because she convinces him to take all natural holistic herbs. Fed him those for another couple of months. Now he's dead.
Wow.
I
This story, I had no idea.
I don't want to point. You know what? If she was a porn star in another life, awesome, good for her. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the evidence suggests not that she was a porn star, but that she is a gold digger.
Yeah, she found a faster way to make money than.
Yeah.
But she's carrying on the ministries though.
Yeah. Well, apparently she has to, because now she's been. They're on like hard financial times, so apparently she has liquidated a lot of the assets. And I'm not sure what she's doing with the money or why she's liquidating it, but so she's carrying on, Gene Scott's good work, and she's still trying to make donations.
So what is her education? Because Gene Scott, he actually had.
Yeah, well, she says that she speaks 20 languages, but everybody's only seen or heard her speak English. She has no training. She has no formal education. Former porn star. She was what
That's
was
hilarious.
She was one of what was called Dr. Scott's pony girls, because he would yeah, that's her.
No, I'm just saying that's her bio.
Yeah, but it doesn't say it just
doesn't say anything.
It doesn't say if she has an education. It just says that she's a natural linguist.
Yeah, and a command over 20 languages. She digs deep. She digs deeply into her vast collection of ancient manuscripts to find and communicate the purest understanding of what the original inspired writers of the Bible had to say. And that's exactly what Gene Scott did.
Right.
That's exactly, but he did it.
She's just doing his shtick. And,
yeah, well, she's got to take over the franchise, right?
Yeah.
No one wants to see her, talk about whatever if they're used to seeing, Dr. Gene Scott do it.
It's just the whole thing. The whole
that just
thing
turned
is
out
really absurd. Because she was one of Dr. Scott's pony girls, and what he would do is he would hire models to. He had a collection of horses, like he was into horses, and he would hire these models to ride around in thong bikinis on the horseback. And he would take pictures and then post them up on his website. And then he would have them on his show.
What? Really?
Yeah, he would have them on his show, and they would be in like skimpy cheerleader outfits in the front row, and they would like cheer for him, and it was all like just a big stunt. And the story is that they got to know each other because they had a common interest in stamp collecting. That was the big thing that brought them together.
That is awesome.
Google Barbie Bridges.
I'm kind of afraid to.
Yeah, right.
But that was her porn name. So she started in the 90s. She started a porn production company called Bridges Enterprises or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. And she's got, I was looking up that she has like a whole list of movies she was in that have all of the, typical, triple X titles that we laugh about. Really fun. It's you can't write this. It's
no,
so
that
good.
it is perfect. Well, she looks. Here's photos. They're censored photos, but I'm sorry, she looks better as a pastor.
Yeah. Well, you got to turn off the safe search on Google and they're out there.
Well, I don't want to see the full. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
I was trying to pull up a photo. Well, maybe this one enlarge. It's censored, so I can show it.
Well, one of the things I just found was on BuzzFeed.
That's the one.
It was the first one that pops up.
Yeah, that's the one we were looking at. No, we were looking at the other one.
I was reading that the other day.
Yeah.
I was just like, "Oh my god, it's too good! It's too good!
It's crazy." Oh, anyway.
I like the fact that as a minister, she like comes with the sex scandal pre-bundled. We don't have to wait for the sex scandal; it's already there. It was just there waiting to be found.
I'm shocked that we didn't know about this. I mean, because I grew up, and Miley still hates it because I still do it. I'm obsessed with the CBN and all that. I watch that all the time just because I find it funny and fascinating. But I never knew this. I'm trying to pull up a bigger picture so we can. Oh, that's not working. No, go away. Anyway. That's
awesome.
Crazy. Great digging there. That's insane.
It wasn't a whole lot of digging.
No, I'm
It's
sure.
not
I mean,
like
you just Googled and then there it is.
Yeah. But I remember looking at the Pastor Melissa Scott website, and I was like, man, for a Christian, because who's the one lady that does all the? We've talked about her before. She's in the Usually like they're these older women that I don't know. They're just not very attractive. And then I see these pictures of Pastor Melissa Scott, and I was like, man, she is good looking.
Yeah.
There must be something there.
So funny.
Wow. And so what?
It's so
how
funny
was
when
she?
Jason is floored. He's like, "What? Really?"
Yeah, I know.
I'm just shocked because there's just so much more. I grew up watching Gene Scott, so it's just there's this new layer of the story, and I'm just like I'm floored by it. It's just
They got married when she was 32 and he was 70.
wow.
Gold digger.
No, they were really in love.
I'm just wondering
I'm
if this is
shocked
before
that
Anna Nicole
this-
Smith or after, because Anna Nicole Smith's got nothing on this chick.
I've always thought when sitting here watching him smoke cigars and saying he's not doing the sermon until he reaches X amount of dollars, I never thought that he would walk off stage, take photos of women in, bikinis on horses. I just,
Yeah.
I mean, this is when I watched him, it was before internet was like anywhere, and
Yeah. I guess for the past couple of years, she denied it.
I'm sure she did.
And now, and then there was, and I know it's not the pillar of journalistic integrity, but apparently there was a big article in Marie Claire magazine where they had whoever the journalist was. They talked to some people from her, former life, like one because she divorced a guy to marry Gene Scott, and he divorced his wife to marry her too. So they both like kicked their current spouses to the curb and then married each other.
So that would just make it think that there was other motives involved too.
I'm sure the motive was money, but they
just makes me think there's a whole new level of meaning to when Jesus says there's no reason to divorce anyone. Epiporneia. God.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Welcome to this non-religious life, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I can make Greek puns.
That was good. You should have been to MarsCon at the.
Yeah.
God.
That's a level of sophistication I don't think they'd have been prepared to deal with.
But you would be proud. You would be proud of Bob, Ken. When we were at MarsCon, we were hanging out in the bar, and Bob brought this non-religious life to a small table in the back of the room, where the whole bar listened. We had people coming up and going, "You were the guy that was."
That's awesome.
Yeah. But that was because I was in a discussion where the other person was winning on volume.
Yeah, well, winning
really?
on not just volume of speech, but volume of I can't talk.
Yeah.
But it was fun. So what else you got?
It's fun. Well, how much longer do we have?
15.
We got about 15
All
minutes
right.
to go. I guess we could talk about Melissa Scott some more.
Yeah, let's do that. That's fun. I'm floored.
You have to be sure to post
it's
some safe for work pictures in the video feed.
Yeah, I'll do that. 'Cause
there will be any.
There are some. There's some that I saw where she's dressed really provocatively, but there's no naughty bits showing.
It's anything that you get on a PG-13 film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right.
I
I want to be known as, oh, you're the guys that put up that porn site.
Yeah.
We didn't mean to. We were making a point.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Pastor Melissa Scott is a trademarked name. All rights reserved.
Really?
Yeah, it says it right at the bottom of the site.
Oh my gosh.
What?
She's officially branded herself.
Does that mean if the SOPA PIPA thing passes that
They would
we
have
would
to
get shut down because we used her name?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
But they're not going to pass it. They've already shelved it.
Oh.
They're going to bring it back, but they've shelved it this time. So.
Well, that's good news.
Wow.
Wait till this whole internet fad passes.
Yeah. This internet fad.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
We gotta attend a live service. It's in L.A.
It's in L.A.
It is in
I
L.A.
was just looking at that.
Ken, you should go. You have to go.
7 p.m. at their Sanctuary Faith Center in Glendale, California. You can call
That's in Glendale?
1-800-338-3030. Sunday service begins at 11 a.m. and or 7 p.m. at our Sanctuary Faith Center in Glendale, California. And reservations are required. To attend this service, simply call 1-800-338-3030 and give your name and mailing address to a Voice of Faith. And request your free passes for Sunday service.
Oh my gosh.
It's funny.
You should do
So
it. Free secured parking is available. Street parking is also available.
So apparently she now she comes and goes to the services via some secret entrance, and she has a whole entourage of security that follow her around. No, she's very secretive now. Nobody knows where she lives, and she's just banking on Dr. Scott's money.
Oh, she's bringing in money, pretty large amounts of money too, because of the production value that's.
I've never seen it. I wouldn't be caught dead watching that show.
Dude, I'll watch it. It's fun.
I consider that taking one for the team.
I'm gonna see if I can pull up a video here. But it's
this is great. Glendale is on my side of Los Angeles.
Yeah,
too.
I know.
That's
You
awesome.
should go. You should do it. You need to call the number now. And we'll get it live. We'll get it live on the show. And then.
So apparently, what she does is sort of right in your wheelhouse. I mean, she takes scripture and analyzes the translation and the interpretational meanings of it, and tries to do it as close as possible in the original language. That sounds right in your wheelhouse, man. You need to
Yeah.
And you too can stand in front of people and claim to speak 20 languages.
Yeah, right.
We got
Just because I can say bonjour doesn't mean I speak French.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Here's the video of her talking about guilt and sin.
22, the last portion of the phrase, and Romans 3:23. The last portion of the phrase says, there. I'm going to write it in English so we can all read it together. There is no difference. I think I'm writing English. There is no difference. And it should continue as one sentence. For all have done good, for all are perfect. Just checking. Some of you might have already departed me. For all have love. For all have sinned.
Wait. That's it. I mean, this is exactly what Gene Scott did, but except Gene didn't use the. Well, he did later in life. He did, but in the early episodes, he didn't.
She's got a whole whiteboard full of Hebrew and English and.
She does.
And they break it down like that, and they just
What
word for word.
Was that? That was Romans what?
Let me back it up.
I don't know.
Hold on. It's not in their show notes. Let me back it up.
Should. I'm really interested in
All right.
finding this one.
Romans 3:22, the last
3:22.
3:22, huh?
Yeah. Anyway, she's right. So I mean, okay, sure. I guess there's some academic merit to dissecting those things, but I don't believe that she speaks 20 languages.
No.
She loves to sing. She sells her own CDs.
And
Of course she does.
She's a philatelist.
Let's not bring phalluses into this.
What?
I said philatelist.
I know.
Damn, this show's gone downhill.
Oh god. Just really quick, you know who I was watching do a little thing. I I enjoy a little Netflix, flipping through things, and I've been watching the Is It Real, like National Geographic show. It's so funny. And the one on exorcism. You know who was a big part of that one?
Bob Larson.
Bob Larson.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love it because it just shows him selling all his stuff.
Yeah. Bob Larson, that's all. I mean, that's his gig. And Bob Larson, you need to come on the show.
Yeah, god damn it. Come on the fucking show, man.
That's not going to get him on the show. You cannot use...
I swear, I will blaspheme God until Bob Larson gets here.
Make sure that's in the show notes. So
Every day.
Blasphemer. So, you know what, though?
we need to run a campaign. That's what we need to do. We need to run a This Non-Religious Life campaign where we make like posters and stuff and put them all over the internet, getting Bob Larson, getting our listeners to write Bob Larson and demand that he come on the show.
Sure.
We should do it.
So he can exercise the demons.
I want to be.
I want to go to one of his exorcisms.
I want one of his cheerleaders
he's
to.
out here too.
What's that?
Because I'm pretty sure he's out here in LA too.
Is he out in LA? I thought he. Well, he's moved a couple times.
You need to put a like a JREF thing on the website, like countdown to days Bob Larson has refused to be on the show.
We should totally do it.
Yeah, Bob Larson would be great. But you know what? I'm starting to think that it might be a possibility in that whoever I think that whoever did the little cloud video has some affiliation with Pastor Melissa Scott.
Do you think so?
And they sent that video to us because of our internet footprint. It was large enough to get noticed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
We'll see. What kind of world do we live in where like Bob Larson is the gold standard of like the show is complete?
But I've been obsessed with Bob Larson longer than Gene Scott, so it has to fall in. I mean, we're going back in time now. I mean, I wish I still had the cassette tapes because I recorded Bob Larson's shows, and I had tapes where he would talk to Abaddon the Destroyer, which was just the lead singer of Deicide using his voice effects, and he was the demon. So it was awesome. I mean, they had a long.
He's a showman.
Man, they all are. It's
They
awesome.
all are. Some of them more than others.
Wow. This show it's been crazy to me. But we got less than 5, so you want to take us out?
Bob, why don't you do it because you're on camera?
Bob.
I don't know how to. I don't know all the information.
You want me to do
I
it?
just stand here
Did it
and open
last
my
week?
mouth. No, you did it last week.
You did do that last week.
The
Did
outro.
I? Oh, I did do the outro. All right.
It takes a practiced hand.
I mean, I can do it if y'all don't want to do it. I mean, what the hell?
Why don't you do it?
You want me to do it? Oh, shit.
Yeah,
I'm
just go for it.
Let me get the number.
Take us out.
Well, thank you for watching This Non-Religious Life with Bob, Ken, and Jason. This wraps up this episode. If you have questions or comments, you can call us at 757-337-2195 or email us at nonreligious@zombie-popcorn.com. You can find us on Facebook, Stitcher, iTunes, and, of course, zombiepopcorn.com. Thank you for listening. Yes.
Good. That was very professional.
Very nice. Very
I don't
nice.
even know what to do with that.
I don't either. I just wanted to be silly. So.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good night.
It was a
Have a
good
good day.
radio voice.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good night.
I love it when
Right.
truth is stranger than fiction.
Yes.
Jesus got out here.
I thought I was a good Christian.
Jesus died on a cross. I go to church every Sunday. Jesus got out here. Then I read this. It says Jesus died on a cross for a rotten hooker.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday. I'm a very religious person.
I thought I was a good Christian. The very lies the serpent told to Eve in the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. spreads confusion and promotes lies.